Hey, what's going on, guys? This is AndrewChicken, and welcome back to another video. I am finally back from my week-long break from YouTube, and it's time to make some more videos. I'm very much looking forward to that. And to start off with this week, I want to play a little bit of Kinessa, who is a champion that's kind of been in, I don't know, the dumpster for quite a while. She's not really super meta at the moment. She even gets outshined by Strix, who himself isn't particularly popular in the meta, and there are a number of reasons for this, which I do want to kind of touch on in this video. Because she has gotten a few buffs in recent times. Her most recent buff, I believe, was the buff where she got a brand new passive as well as some improvements to her carbine's accuracy. But she's still completely in the toilet, and there's a bit of history regarding that, which I think it would be a good idea to just kind of explore in today's video because, well, I don't know, it seems like a fun video idea. So, yeah. We are on Brightmarsh here, which is not exactly a great Kinessa map, at least when it comes to capturing the point. And that can very easily lead us into our first reason why Kinessa is not super popular at the moment, which is that she is a map-dependent champion. Snipers are very niche because they excel and are better than any other champion at super long range. At mid-range, they're still pretty good. At close range, they're pretty crap, unless maybe you're Strix and can quickscope. Or you're just really cracked with zooming in at Kinessa for some reason. So, yeah. That is, you know, it makes them very map-dependent, because if you're on a map that's too small, then snipers don't really have a place to fit in. And on the objective of Brightmarsh, it's very hard for a sniper to do much of anything. The sightlines are very limited, they're very easy to predict, and very easy to flank. The second reason why Kinessa's kind of crap is, I mean, in my opinion, she really only has one viable talent, and that's Reposition, because it makes her harder to flank. Steady aim is good for the damage bonus, but you're not always hitting full charge shots, especially due to a nerf, which we'll talk about later. And Oppression is just trash. So we're going to go Reposition with this build, which has HP, True Grit, Open Season, Prodigy, Power Supply. Haven't played Kinessa in a little bit, so I don't know if it's exactly the most updated build. I believe I did kind of update it when they did that change to Quickscope. Yeah, I don't know. Don't take that build for gospel, I guess. Yeah, let me throw a mine out, and we'll try and do a bit of sniping here. And we'll talk about the second reason why Kinessa's crap, which is actually a pretty huge nerf that happened about a year ago at this point. And this nerf was to her charge rate. So you see now we're charging, and it takes us 1.2 seconds in order to fully charge up a shot. It didn't always used to be that way. For a long time, Kinessa's charge rate was actually 1 second, which is a lot faster. It means she can put out a lot more damage throughout a match. And, like in that exact situation right there where I hit that Tyra and didn't kill her, situations like that would, you know, have Kinessa actually landing the killing blow and actually doing enough damage to kill more times than not. So, that nerf that happened a year ago was a massive nerf. But the reason why that happened was actually, in part, due to something completely different, which was the Oppression talent. There's a whole chain and series of different things that have caused Kinessa to be in the state she's in. And one of the major causes of this, a year ago, was the rework to the talent formerly known as Eagle Eye, now known as Oppression. Oppression used to be a talent called Eagle Eye, which was absolute trash. What it did is it basically turned her weapon kind of into a worse version of Octavia, where you shot... crap. You shot a lot faster, but then you didn't do nearly as much damage with each weapon shot. So it was more in line with Octavia. And that talent existed for about a year, with absolutely zero changes to try and make it better, and then they just reworked it into Oppression. And Oppression was so stupid on release. Back in the day... excuse me. Voice crack. Back in the day, Vex 30 still used to play. I used to play with him, and we both saw this talent. We're just like, nope. Oh, no, this has to go. This has to go right now. We both made videos about it. It was a whole thing. And yeah, this talent was so much more toxic back in the day, because the mines did not expire. And, yeah, so you could basically just spam them out. The cards were stronger. They could dismount people. I don't know if you know that, but the mines used to be able to dismount people. So, yeah, they were just free dismounting. You could just chuck them at spawn, and you could be so annoying with it. It was a nightmare. You saw people getting like 150,000 damage in one game doing nothing except throwing mines and maybe, you know, using the default carbine a little bit. And it's my opinion that when they nerfed Kinessa because of this talent, they might have jumped the gun a little bit when it came to nerfing other aspects about her kit. I actually went back and looked at the changelog, and at the exact time that they nerfed Oppression in these ways by adding a finite duration and you know, changing the projectile throw speed, making it so they can't dismount, all these different things. They also did two major changes. The first major change is the change we went over earlier, where her sniper rifle charges 0.2 seconds more slowly, which is a huge deal, right? And then they also nerfed the damage of her carbine down to 170 instead of 180, so she does less damage with the hipfire shots as well. And both of those affect every single playstyle for Kinessa, not just oppression. So, you know, in the process of nerfing this really annoying, dumb, toxic playstyle that they introduced with oppression, they ended up just really gutting Kinessa across the board, and she has not come back from those nerfs since. She still, at the time, was a champion who you really did only see on Frog Isle and other sniper maps. And she was still pretty oppressive, don't get me wrong, 1 second charge rate was absurd. But she was still pretty situational, and yeah, now she's even more situational, and even in those situations, she's not exactly super strong. I mean, I can see Kinessa's getting absolutely wrecked on Frog Isle by, you know, Strix players, or Shaolin players, or even just a good flank combo, because she's a lot easier to flank. You know, with a slower charge time, and also less damage on the carbine. It means she's generally pretty helpless when you're in close quarters with her. So there's really just, yeah, a lot that's gone into making Kinessa bad. And the buffs that she's gotten in recent times haven't done as much as I would have hoped to make her feel a little bit better. The carbine accuracy buffs were pretty nice, don't get me wrong. I'm absolutely in favor of that. But, you know, those aren't going to single-handedly bring Kinessa into the meta, right? What are carbine buffs going to do in that vein, in that general regard, when you have characters like Victor, Vivian, Tyra, who exist and have the same weapon but just a million times better? The carbine's not why you're picking Kinessa. And then the other buff that actually seemed pretty promising, and honestly pretty scary and pretty overpowered on release until we actually got to play with it, was the new passive that she has, Bag 'em and Tag 'em, where you can reveal people for 1 second after hitting them. Boom, there we go, I hit that Drogos, he's revealed to me for 1 second. And you can increase the amount of reveal with a card. And I remember thinking that was going to be absolutely busted when I first heard about it. Like, why are we giving a sniper a reveal? Until I realized it's a personal reveal. It's not a global reveal. It's not a reveal that, you know, will reveal them to the entire team. If that were the case, and it was just a reveal to the entire team, that actually would probably be overpowered, but they didn't do it quite like that. I don't want them to do it like that. But it means that this passive, I mean, yeah, it's kind of helpful, but it's just like, whatever, you know? There have been some cases where certainly it's been helpful, but it just really is not enough to push Kinessa into the meta without, you know, having the same sniper rifle that she used to. And so this is where I kind of leave it to you. What do you think needs to be done about Kinessa? I don't have very many suggestions apart from this. The last thing you want to do is make Kinessa too strong. The last thing you want to do is make Kinessa, or snipers in general, meta in this game. Because we have had that before. We can go back even further in history to a time when snipers were just absurd, right? And it was just not fun to play. At all. You can look at Overwatch as another more recent example of snipers being meta, where, you know, on the release of Overwatch 2 and for many months after, Widowmaker and Hanzo are just so annoying to play against, Sojourn's annoying to play against, it's all just, yeah, it's terrible. I'm dead. You do not want to make snipers overpowered. And frankly, I'm glad Kinessa's not super, super strong. I want her to be in a decent spot, and I think that's probably ever so slightly higher than where she is right now, but I don't want to see her go super, super high up. I don't think she needs crazy buffs. One thing that comes to mind is maybe you could kind of go halfway on the charge time. Because right now with 1.2 seconds, it's just kind of, I feel maybe a little bit too low. But I don't think going back to 1 second again is the right call either. Maybe 1.1 seconds would be a good call. It's kind of in the middle, maybe. Oh, I'm terrible at snipers, by the way. I feel like that could give her a bit more pep in her step. Especially because when you think about Kinessa, right? There's one key difference that, you know, separates her between Strix, right? Apart from the fact that she's got a movement ability, whereas Strix has stealth. And that difference is that Kinessa has to charge her shots before she can hit somebody, whereas Strix has quick scopes. So, you know, Strix can instantly scope in, bam, there's 1200 damage like that. Kinessa can never do that. And so, to compensate, I think it probably makes a little bit of sense to have Kinessa, you know, to give Kinessa a slightly faster charge time than Strix. Ever so slightly. I don't think it needs to be insane, but that would compensate for the fact that she can't quickscope. And, you know, I'm glad she can't quickscope, because it's kind of annoying if you had to quickscope meta, right? But, yeah. that could be maybe something you do. You could maybe return the carbine damage back to up to 180. Frankly, I don't even remember why that got nerfed. I might have to go back and watch some of the old videos about, you know, Kinessa at the time to really understand what's going on there. But, yeah. that seems kind of weird. Why would you nerf the carbine? I don't think the carbine was ever a problem with her. Especially when you consider back when the carbine got nerfed, she didn't have the accuracy buffs that she has now. So, I don't know. That seems like a no-brainer to me. Maybe buff it back up to 180, I don't know. I don't think the mines need too much of a buff, though. Oppression is just such an annoying talent. Honestly, I kind of wish they would have given Old Eagle Eye another chance. I feel like they gave up on that talent way too early. They added the talent to the game, and then they just kind of left it. They didn't do anything to balance it, they didn't do anything to buff it, and then they just got rid of it a year later. You can look back at the changelog and see. They added Eagle Eye, and then nothing, 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 bam, oppression. Why? They didn't even try. Like, that never really made sense to me, because I do think it was an interesting talent. But I guess they wanted to take Kinessa in a different direction, and it's led us to where we are now. So, you know, it would be cool to maybe see that talent return, but I think that's probably asking a little bit too much to try and maybe fix that talent instead of just removing it outright. In terms of current oppression state, I don't even know what you could do with that talent. I just don't like it. I get the idea of trying to make a mine-based talent, but the way they implemented it was just so dumb. It's just a bunch of extra free damage, and that's really it. It's not interesting. It's just kind of boring, you know? Anyways. Let's see about maybe turning this game around now. We're 1-3. Honestly, I don't even know how we made it this far, especially considering I'm playing Kinessa on this map. But, we can certainly... can certainly try and make some stuff work here. Oop, nothing I can do about that right now. Whoop. Hit her once. Oh, where did you come from? I'm so dead. Okay, ouch. Kind of wasted my ult. Talus is popping off. Vatu's not. Talus is literally 1 HP. Oh my gosh, I don't know if we stand much of a chance of winning this game. Oh well. Tell you what, though, I did very much enjoy my little break from YouTube. I am very glad that I had some videos prepared for the break. I feel like that worked out really nicely, and I'm actually super happy to see the response on some of those videos. Some of them actually did really well. And I also had overall pretty decent feedback on the tier list, too, which is kind of abnormal. Normally people have a lot of bad things to say about my tier list, but it actually seemed relatively tame this time around, which is good. And yeah, it was honestly just a nice time to kind of enjoy some time with the family, you know, play some video games. I ended up playing basically the whole Half-Life series, which I had never played before, because, well, the first Half-Life came out over 3 years before I was born, so I didn't get a chance to play that on release, did I? And obviously the second one came out in 2006, so that came out when I was, geez, what, like 5? So, you know, wasn't really around at the time to play those games. And I saw Valve's documentary about Half-Life, because apparently that was their first game they ever made. And I watched that and I found it fascinating, so I decided to play Half-Life for myself. It's free on Steam. Absolutely loved it. So then I played Half-Life 2. It's like $2 or something right now. It's cheap. And yeah, so I played through that. And the episodes, episode 1 and 2. It was fantastic. I don't know why I didn't play the game sooner. Honestly, if you haven't tried it, you should give it a try. I know it's an old game, but I was actually really pleasantly surprised with how well the game's held up, especially Half-Life 2. It was absolutely crazy. And I'm so mad that there's not an episode 3, because they just left a massive cliffhanger in episode 2, and then there's just nothing. I haven't played Half-Life Alyx. I don't have a VR headset. I might have to think about getting one. So yeah, I don't really know what happened in that game, if that has any answers for what happened after episode 2. But yeah, I really enjoyed myself playing that. That was definitely one of the highlights of my break. But yeah, let's see. How did we do with Kinessa here? Oh, dear God. Whoops. Wow, I did awful. Jeez, man. I am not good at snipers. If you've been around the channel for any length of time, you know that. I'm not a huge fan of snipers, so I don't play snipers all that much. And yeah, also, Kinessa on Brightmarsh is just not really that good. Unless you're in that last part on the defense and you have that high ground that you can just snipe down from. But even then, Kinessa's not that good right now for many of the reasons which I laid out in this video. I would love to hear any of your thoughts for what could be done to make Kinessa feel a little bit better, if you think she even needs anything right now. I don't know. I actually didn't really check what her win rate was before this video. I'll probably have that on the screen right now. I don't know how good it is. I don't assume it's really that great. I haven't seen Kinessa's performing too hot recently. I've barely seen her played in ranked. So yeah, I do think she needs a little something. Let me know what you think about my suggestions. Let me know your suggestions, of course. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, turn on notifications so you never miss an upload from me. And if you want to support me, there are a number of ways you can do that. I would really appreciate it if you would check out the Nexus, nexus.gg/AndrewChicken. It is official. It's an official thing with Evil Mojo, where they let you buy crystals at that website, and a portion of the proceeds go to supporting me. Same price as you see here, but I just get a small cut, and it really helps the channel out, so I'd appreciate it if you would check that out. But with all that being said, thank you guys for watching. I will see you all next time. Peace out.